Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. Hello, 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 Internet! It's Saturday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for I almost said the Relic Ride. God damn it. Sorry.
Wrong day.
Gaming Gumbo, our weekly gaming wrap-up. Of course, we always do the show live here, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So if you can join us, that'd be awesome. We got chat hanging by with all of their opinions for everything we're going to discuss. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, as always. Magic Man, and this is episode 88, closing in on 100, gentlemen, not too far away. We've got good news, we've got bad news, and you know what? I'm hoping the weather holds. So in eastern Pennsylvania, they are now under tornado warnings. We got the worst of the storms themselves already, but we're still under, like, obnoxiously high wind alerts. Like, obnoxiously. So if you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, Spotify, any of those places, we absolutely love and appreciate it. Thank you. Thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a review, and, of course, comment on the show itself so that, people see it. If you like it, tell a friend. But if this episode all of a sudden ends at 23 and a half minutes, abruptly, you'll know what happened. Like, my power just went kaput, because if the power goes out, even if it's only for a minute or two, we're not going to try and just refire it back up and pick up. It's just, nope, that's the end of the show. God bless. Have a great weekend. Joining me to go over everything, Mr. Troy Blackburn, the Noob Fridge. What's up, sir?
We spent last night under tornado warnings, and the wind has been blowing like crazy today, so
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. Like, obviously, if you're outside and I'm going out for a smoke and it's windy as hell. But the power flickered a couple of times this afternoon, but it didn't go out yet. I did a podcast with Flynn, and it was fine, so we'll see how this one goes. Also on the line, resident artist of Ready Check Radio, it's Yod. What's up, sir?
What's up? The tornado stuff went like right north of us. So
Yeah.
through like
Yeah,
Arkansas,
through me.
Tennessee. So on their way to you guys.
Yeah.
apparently I slept through it this morning.
Metallica fan in chat saying, can't imagine living with hurricane warnings, etc. In the UK, we get 2 millimeters of snow, and it's the end of the world. Yeah, but it rains all the time there, so I can't imagine that either. Yeah, we're all three of us are isolated from, like, hurricanes. Usually when hurricanes hit the U.S., the three of us get the residual heavy downpour rain.
Yeah, it rains a lot.
After it has stopped being a hurricane in the Northeast here. But yeah, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings in eastern Pennsylvania now. And my son, Torchwick, not going to be streaming tonight. He has rehearsal for a show at his college, but they're getting pounded by the storms that already made it their way through here. So, hey, we got a lot of stuff to cover, but Yod was he's had a few days off. Like, when you look back at the schedule, because we had a week or two where we couldn't do the show, and one was a scheduled thing, and then the next was Troy had told me, hey, I can't do the show on the 25th, and I was like, yeah, no problem, and he gave me like a month's notice or whatever, and I totally forgot, and when I figured it out, I was like, oh yeah, he can't do this today. Hey, Zista, you're still good, and Dom's like, I'm at PAX, and I'm like, son of a bitch, well, I guess we're not doing a show tonight. Hey, Yod, 4th week off in a row.
Yep.
But Yod, you were feeling a little left out when we were showing some of our collectibles, and so pre-show, you showed some of your collectibles. Are there one or two you want to show everybody on the show?
No, I think I went through most of them. I mean, there was the Cade figure.
Yeah, look at him teasing the pre-show. He's like, no, I ain't showing them here.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Halo stuff from the wife's collection. I couldn't really find the Assassin's Creed stuff, but she has the collector's editions from the first few games. So, the little figures and stuff.
Yeah.
Somewhere here. And then I showed off the three StarCraft 2 collector's boxes
yeah?
I have.
You never
Yeah,
know
but
what's
yeah,
going to happen in our pre-show or post-show, so make sure you
you
stop
gotta
on
be
by.
here for the pre-show.
You know what
Yeah.
I like about collectibles, gents? I like when you collect things and then, I mean, I don't like when the games disappear or the companies disappear, but it's always neat having those collectibles or items when something no longer exists, right? Like my
Yeah.
my glasses from Let It Die, Deathverse Let It Die, the game that lasted literally 3 or 4 months before they shanked it down, and it's supposed to come
Wow.
back, but we'll see
I
about
know where
that.
this joke is going already.
And I have I also have a press pass.
Yeah.
This year was
Yeah.
going to be my first in-person E3 event. I had
Oh
obtained
my.
my press passes, was working with ReedPop and the ESA and everything to go cover the event, and I was pretty excited. Like back in the day, I used to work for a video game store, and the owner went to E3 when it was industry only, right? But
Mhm.
he never took the staff, so I never got to go. So E3's always been one of those things that I'm like, I want to go to that once. I just
Right.
want to go to that once. And then they opened it up to the general public, and I'm like, oh, cool. At some point, I could go to E3 once. And I know E3's changing and not quite what it once was, but it'll still be cool to say I was at an E3. So even though Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft had all said we're not going to be there, other companies had said they were going to, Troy. Ubisoft had said, hey, if they have it, we'll be there. The ESA was like, stop saying that. We're having it. Uh, and so, you know, I was looking forward to it. I had my press credentials. I was good to go and everything. And
Did,
then
did
Ubisoft,
they actually send you a pass?
yeah, the lanyard
Yeah.
thing, and
Okay.
I'm like, okay, great, yeah, great. And they're like, just bring your lanyard, your ID, and a business card. When you check in at the table, we'll scratch you off the list. You'll be good. Fantastic, great.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, now I have a press pass to an event that isn't happening.
I thought they said that it was definitely positively gonna happen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could swear we reported on that.
I know. You, especially when Ubisoft said if it happens, we'll be there. The next day, ESA was like, "Stop it! We're
Yeah.
having it. We're
Yeah, yeah.
revamping it. We pulled in
Repo.
those people. We pulled in ReedPop, who does PAX East and other events. They're going to help us rebrand this, do a little something different. Blah 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 blah." And then Ubisoft decided we're not going to go. And then Tencent and Sega decided we're not going to go. And then we start kind of asking, well, who the hell is going to go? And then, Troy, the inevitable, unsurprising announcement came this week that, yeah, ESA canceling E3 in what I said on the MMO Bomb podcast. So if you want to check that out, Troy and I were on that Friday. Has to be one of the most embarrassing ways for this to have gone down, right? To talk about revamping it, bringing in a new partner, doing things differently. We're going to make this more of a relevant showcase than it has been in the years past with the competition they have from Games Show, the Game Awards show, and Summer Games Fest over at Jeff Keighley's place, and in his basement, I think is where they host it. And and then to like battle back against Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot saying if it happens, to say no, it's definitely, and then within like 2 weeks have to issue this. Hey, this event that was going to fire in 2 months, yeah, we're canceling it.
Yeah, all that rebranding and all that attempting to stay relevant and stay in the news and be like, yeah, we're definitely doing this. The industry showed them real quick just how irrelevant they actually are now, and how the industry doesn't need that type of a showcase anymore. They can do their own showcases. It's easy to do that kind of production stuff from your studios and stuff now.
Yeah.
I swear at least a year or more ago when Jason was still on the show, we all talked about how E3 really needs to pivot and find a new audience or else they're not going to be able to do it again.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here we are.
Here's the thing I want to ask you gents. Yad, I don't think it's coming back. Honestly, this is such an embarrassment, the way this went down. I feel like the only way this could have been worse is if we were closer to the date it was supposed to fire. Like, the only thing that could make this worse was every day it clicked closer to the event, waiting to make this announcement.
Right.
This, it's got to be, and the ESA keeps swearing up and down that there is a place for EA, even in a revamped E3 in a revamped fashion and everything. But
And there
they've
is.
got to find the hook, right?
Right. That's the
The
problem.
song you want to
They-
listen to on the radio because it's got a hook. There is
Right.
no hook for E3.
Right. They need to do something that the other shows aren't doing. The other thing that I want to say is rather than having the company saying, yeah, if it happens, we'll be there. No, you get signed contracts that they will be there. Not a dude going, yeah, handshake. Because I mean, sure, when I started doing conventions in '96 and stuff like that, a lot of the guests and things like that were there, that's how they kind of operated. I mean, sure, this was anime conventions and comic book conventions, but the guests, that's kind of how they operated, was with a handshake and a smile at over dinner. Yeah, I'll go to your con. And then, you get in touch with them and send them a plane ticket and all that stuff. But as the years went on, you start getting contracts now. You start saying you're going to show up. There's of course a act of God clause in case anything happens and both parties are covered. But if you've promised to go there, you've signed a contract, you have to be there. That's the I mean, yeah, the whole thing with Ubisoft, that's what you get when you don't have a contract with these companies and they trust you and they want to show at your show because you're doing something unique. You got a hook, but they don't have a hook.
What is the answer, Troy? Because in this day and age where all of these companies have already figured out that they can do this on their own, in their own studios, without leaving home for virtually free, right? They can get their message out to the consumers they want to get their message out to in the Sony State of Plays, in the Nintendo Directs, in the Xbox showcases, in all of these, the Square Enix showcases. In this day and age when Sony can go down to its basement, fire up the cameras, pay two hosts to read off a teleprompter because they don't know what the fuck they're actually talking about. When you have that ability and you want to get your big PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6, PlayStation 7 announcement and showcase out there without having to compete or be directly compared to Xbox, who went on stage before you, and Nintendo, who's going on stage after you, how do you revamp E3 into an environment that not only gamers want to go to, because we want to go to it as a celebration of gaming, right? Am I going to see some cool announcements? Cool. Am I going to get my hands on time with some stuff? Am I going to be able to buy some cool merch? Am I going to be able to meet some people from cool companies? It's okay to view it as that because a big portion of the event is that. But when you're the ESA, you are trying to convince Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, Square Enix, Capcom, Sega, everybody to not only get there and be there, but pay to do it. Buy a booth, set it up, get your staff here that you're going to have to pay all those staff. Maybe have an announcement or two. Do you want to be part of a panel? There is big money involved for these companies getting to E3. So where's the hook for them? They're not going to do it out of the goodness of their heart to celebrate gamers and gaming as much as we might like them to do it. And there's a lot of competition in the PAX conventions, which there's too many of those, but the PAX conventions, the Summer Games Fest, the Video Game Awards, and then IGN has its streaming thing. In this world, what is the catch? What is the hook that gets gamers and the companies to be in the LA Convention Center at the same time?
If I knew the answer to that, I would not tell E3. I would just open my own convention and make my own money and keep them just as irrelevant as they are. A nice little niche for them. A nice little niche for them. Show actual gameplay where people are actually really playing the game live. That would be interesting because we don't usually get that in gameplay demos.
Right, hands-on, actual hands-on stuff. That'd be pretty nice to have.
It's sad. Like, it's kind of end of an era, although I say that, but even we on this show and other shows for the last 4 years, and let's take the 2 years of COVID out of the equation, but the last 4 or 5 years have slowly been watching E3 die. Like it's not a surprise. I just don't know how you come back from this.
Like,
I really thought they would have a pathetic attempt, like a last gasp this year. Them actually canceling it this year caught me a little bit by surprise because I thought they would put on like a really poor show and then that would be the end of it. For them to cancel outright did surprise me just a little bit, in that they didn't have that little like dead fish flopping type attempt.
we are like what did you say 2 months out?
Something like that. I think it was mid-June, off the top of my head, or early
Okay,
July,
so
something like that.
okay, so 2.5 months out. Yeah, if in order for something like this to go, they had to have not actually had a contract with the hotels in a convention center.
Oh,
Because
I don't know if
if
that's
they
true, because
if they did, they're paying out.
they're
the
going to pay
nose.
out. But so the email I got personally said it was literally 2 sentences. It said, "Hi Mike, we understand that you've been in coordination with us to obtain your press pass credentials for E3 this year. Thank you so much for your support. Unfortunately, we'll be canceling the event. We know that you may have already made travel arrangements, and we appreciate the support and apologize for the inconvenience, the E3 admin team." That's it. They were like, "We know you probably booked flights, but get bent." Like, and it's not that I expected them to like
Wow.
refund or anything, but it was really like 2 sentences in the email. It was kind of like, wow, that feels bad. And
Yeah,
then
that's
to like make this big deal about bringing ReedPop in, bringing an outside organization in to help you revamp this, and then to still have it fall through. Ouch. Ouch.
I mean, they could have brought ReedPop in, and ReedPop took a look at it and went, "You're boned." So they canceled it.
Well,
I mean,
I think
that
one
could
of their
have been-
statements, Troy, to IGN had something to do with like they weren't able to verify all of the attendees because people were so up in the air about whether or not they were coming. Something to that effect.
like I said, contracts. They didn't have contracts.
Can you imagine? Could you just imagine being in a position where Ubisoft doesn't want to attend your thing?
Not only that, they were going to go to LA. Well, they are. They're doing much like Xbox was doing. We don't want to be part of E3, but we want to be in LA around E3, and we're going to showcase our own stream around the same dates as E3. Ubisoft is planning to do the same thing.
So there's gonna be all these other
Yeah.
gaming events
Yeah.
happening in LA.
Yep.
On those dates.
Yep. Xbox is going to be there, and Ubisoft is going to be there, and there's some
All right.
other. And
right,
Jeff
all right.
Keighley's doing the pre-event stuff still. Yeah.
All right. So here's how you pivot that, okay? Because they're already doing their own shit on those same dates. So instead of actually hosting an event, you throw a fucking party.
I think what I'm going to
And you
do is
invite them all to your party.
I'm just going to get like Havoc, my brother, right? I'm just going to get him and be like, look, you're going to be my cameraman. We're going to fly out. We're going to go to these events. And every fucking news hit I do, I'm going to be like, hey, it's Mike Byrne from Check Raideo and MMOBomb.com at Not E3. Now, let's take a look at the Xbox. Like, just everything. Not E3. Not E3.
You throw
Because
an
it's totally
industry party.
E3 in like 7/10 is what's now going
Right.
on.
Yeah, but yeah, you throw an industry party. That's what you do. You screw the big event. You rent out a hotel ballroom and you throw an industry party.
Right? Like the Game Breaker BlizzCon parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you get back in good with all of them. Then you start writing out the contracts.
Jeff Keighley, by the way, wasted no time throwing shade, Troy.
Yeah, that's
None.
funny. Funny
None. An hour or so after the announcement, which wasn't an announcement, by the way. IGN broke the news, which forced the ESA to reply to IGN. Then the email I got, which was probably within a half hour after that, had a link to E3's site. For more information, click here. The site had not been updated to reflect that it had been canceled at all yet.
Oh.
But Jeff Keighley, within like an hour of the news breaking, he posted a picture on Twitter, and the comments, the tweet said, here's 15-year-old me at the first ever E3 in 1995. E3 meant so much to me and so many to you too. 4 years ago, I realized that E3 wasn't evolving as it needed to compete in a global digital world. So we started building what's next. See you at Summer Game Fest, June 8th. Like, just see you there.
Pretty good though. I mean, That's some good promotion.
That really is actually. Like it was immediate shade.
Yeah.
Immediate shade. I don't know. So as much as I may, to Cal saying that Jeff Keighley can just go away, he's part of the reason E3 is gone.
I mean, it's possible.
I can't disagree with the sentiment because he's certainly some of the things he's spun up have been direct competition to E3 and put strain on the show itself. But Jeff only spun those things up because E3 was failing to evolve into a digital streaming world the way the rest of the world was going.
Right.
If E3 had been willing to kind of evolve with the times, I think Jeff Keighley's still there. Doing the stuff with E3.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong, but
like you said, if at this point in time, we're 3 months from the date that it was supposed
it
to
was
be,
June 14th or
and-
something. I looked it up.
and you cannot confirm what companies are coming, like solidly confirm. These companies have booths. They are set up here. They will go here. They're scheduled to come in at this time at the airport and leave on this date.
Yeah, 2 months ahead of time. I should be
Booked at
looking
this
at the
hotel.
booth maps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The layouts should be done already. The panel schedules should be in there, in one form or another on the paper with still some things moving around, but it should mostly be there. Your art, if you have an artist alley, that should be set up and ready to go already on the map. Your hotels should be booked out solid. Your room blocks. If you have a rave or whatever, that should be set up with all your DJs ready to go. This should be already done. You should be on autopilot by this time.
It's just a hard sell in this day and age to, I think, do a show like E3, right? You go to Comic-Con, obviously, because there's going to be celebrities there, but you're paying for everything that you're going to do with those celebrities, pictures, autographs, headshots, all that stuff. There's going to be vendor booths, and we love going to these types of cons, but those types of cons are in a different bucket. Those are revenue-driving cons. You, as the average consumer headed in, are going to spend money at the food booth, spend money at the vendor booth, spend money to be with the celebrities, buy some new comic books or some graphic novels from the local artists and indie artists that made the traveling. Like, you are the reason they're there. They came because you are going to come and open your wallet. E3 has never been like that. E3 initially was able to hide in this shell of the internet isn't a thing. If you want to know about the latest, greatest coming out in electronic entertainment, this is where everybody shows it off. This is the only chance you get. That's no longer a thing. So why would Xbox put money into coming and sharing a stage with its competitors when there's no revenue stream of us walking in the door, besides the potential for us being customers down the road on some future projects or some products? So it's very weird. Like, how do you monetize it? Because that's what's going to make Square Enix want to be there, Troy, right? Where is my payoff? If I spend $6,000 to get my team and be there to do this, how am I getting that $6,000 back? And don't tell me, well, you might sell more copies of Final Fantasy 6 months from now, because that's not what Square Enix is going to want to hear.
Especially when you can spend $1,000 and do it from home.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, to Cal, right? It has led to some iconic moments. E3 is some iconic moments. But exactly, like, why would you, as Sony, put yourself in a position, pay to be in a position to be flamed with the comments from somebody else, right? Why do it? Just do the Sony State of Play and turn it off and call it a day.
It'd have to be, like Troy said, for the fans to actually get their hands physically on a demo copy that they can play there and only there.
And there's zero incentive for a company to do that unless you're going to give them $5 or $10 out of your wallet while they're there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's a weird spot. I don't think there's
and I'm not going to do that to play a demo.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't think there's a place for this type of showcase anymore.
The only thing I can kind of see, like, other than the fact, like I said, the fact that all the other companies are already going out to that spot on those days to run their own events, you just throw an industry party and call it the E3 industry party.
Yeah.
The other option is just to, close it up to industry only showcase again, like it started. I mean,
Oh,
that's the only other option
they
I
say
see.
they're
'Cause-
not giving up on it because they are
Yeah.
convinced there is a valid reason for E3 to still be a thing. But without a massive revamp at this point, I can't see it. I
Right.
can't see it.
That has been proven otherwise right now.
Yeah, and I'm somebody that's literally trying to find a good reason because I don't want it to go away, right?
No,
and
I
I
wouldn't
still
want
can't.
it to go away either. It'd be great to actually show up there, even if it wasn't what it used to be, because it's freaking E3. You know, the name recognition is still there.
Yeah,
Just
not only is
learn
being
to
in
love-
person amazing and fun, being in person after 2 years of not being able to be in
Mhm.
person is even better.
Right.
Just
But-
learn to love your new Lord and Savior Jeff Keighley and move on with your lives.
All right. Speaking of Nintendo and Nintendo Direct and type of stuff, we got 10 or so minutes of actual gameplay of the new Zelda Breath of the Wild coming out in May. So we're a month away. Can't wait. Troy, man, we got a busy week that week, right? We got Zelda, we got Redfall, like we got all kinds of stuff coming. Troy and I are gonna be busy with Redfall, baby. We are gonna be busy. We'll have to stream it on the channel here. But we actually saw a lot of gameplay, including some of Link's new moves, as far as rewinding time a little bit or going up through the roof of different places. Which, when I saw that, I was like, that is really neat. I would hate to be the programmer on this game.
Right.
Like, you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I got to build this and then have collision detection and this and this and that. Oh, wait, you want me to also be able to have him, go up through this thing that normally has to have collision detection. It's just like, there's a lot of, I cannot wait for this. Troy, I can't imagine. You're like not a console guy at all. You've never like seen any Zelda game and been like, I really want to play that. And just like never been drawn to trying a Zelda game or trying a Mario platformer game. Like how can you not be into consoles at all and see some of the games that you just don't have the option at all and never will to play on PC in a legal fashion?
You know, sometimes it does hurt. Sometimes it does make me jealous, and sometimes I get right on the cusp of going and buying a Switch. But then I stop myself, and I'm like, 6 months from now, am I going to care as much that I'm missing out on this? And the truth is, not so much. Would I love to experience some of the stuff? Yeah. But then 6 months later, some of the shine has gone off of this kind of stuff, and it's not as perfect as everybody said it was when it first came out. I'm not saying it's bad.
Dude, Breath of the
but,
Wild is still a baller game. I don't care what Dom says
some
about
of
it
the- some
not
of the
being a Zelda
shine
game.
comes off of it, and some of the FOMO goes away. So it's not nearly as bad of its existence. There's plenty of games on PC.
So have you ever played a Zelda game?
Yeah, like the old NES ones and stuff. Yeah.
So what was the most recent Zelda game you personally had your hands on a controller for?
The most recent was
Yeah.
just the original Zelda on NES because I still
Oh,
own it
shit.
on an NES.
Jeez.
Never played Link to the Past,
No,
Ocarina?
No.
None. Oh my god.
I know people who are obsessed with Ocarina.
How about
I
how about a
remember-
Metroid game? That's absolutely your cup of tea.
Probably Super Nintendo.
Wow.
I mean, at least you played a fantastic one in Super Metroid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Damn.
Super Nintendo was the last Nintendo. No, excuse me. N64 was the last Nintendo console I owned.
That you personally own.
Yeah.
And you still you didn't buy Zelda Ocarina or Majora's Mask for it.
No, I was playing Maddens and WrestleMania 2000 and stuff like that back then.
Nice.
What, no GoldenEye?
What about you, Jan?
Yeah, I do have GoldenEye. We actually played. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But with my group of friends, we actually played Sarge's Heroes in multiplayer on the same screen instead of
Cool.
GoldenEye. And I don't know, something about that game just attracted us, and that's the one we played. But I did play GoldenEye solo.
What about
Ocarina?
what about you,
Ocarina
yeah?
and
Yeah, go ahead.
and Majora's Mask was kind of when I actually was playing. Other than that, I kind of veered towards the PlayStation end of things. After that, with PlayStation 2 and 3, well, we had Xbox, so
Yeah, I beat
But
the hell out of the first Breath of the Wild, and it was quick too, like within a week or so of it coming out, because I just did not stop playing. And that's not like anything about the game being short. I did a ton of side, not all, but I did a ton of the side stuff, all the towers and all the puzzles and stuff like that. So that is, the game was not short. I just probably played it way more than I should have. Like if I'm being honest, in that week and a half, 2 weeks. And I will do the same thing with this. Some of the new move sets look cool. I was sad to see that the weapon durability bullshit is still in here. I did not like that in the original one. But what I do like in this one is like the fusing thing, where like you're seeing on your screen right now, he was running with a stick.
Yeah.
He saw a pitchfork on the ground. And so Link uses a fuse ability to fuse his two weapons together. Now he has a super long pitchfork, or a stick with a huge rock fused to it. And now its durability goes up. Now you're seeing some of the arrow stuff where you can fuse items with your arrows and create a target seeking arrow, or an arrow that freezes people just by. I do like this whole like crafting system. Later in the video, you're gonna see them building boats and rafts out of shit and vehicles. Just like they said, hey, we showed pictures of these vehicles. People like them. You need to know they're not in the game. These are just things we built, like in the game. You're going to build your own vehicles. And I was like, this is a pretty robust looking crafting system for a Zelda game. And that has me pretty excited too.
And I bet Dom's going to say that makes it not a Zelda game.
Probably. Yeah. Percentage chance that it runs like crap to Cal says, I'd say above 70%. I don't know, dude. The original Breath of the Wild was really solid. And it's Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't have... Not saying everything they put out is perfect, but they don't have like the reputation that like Square Enix does with when it comes to PC ports. Like when you get a Square Enix title on PC, you're just like, this is going to be trash for the first 2 weeks. I should just wait. Like Nintendo generally doesn't have that, but Pokemon isn't Nintendo though. You said Pokemon says hi, but that's not made by Nintendo.
No, they spun that off to the Pokemon Corporation. Yeah, because
I'm not saying all Switch games run totally fine, but Nintendo does have this kind of this bar that they like to aim for, and we'll see. It doesn't. But that's my point, though. Game Freak is owned by Nintendo, fine, but it's not Nintendo developing it. I'm talking about their in-house titles, their Zeldas, their stuff like that. Even Metroid has kind of become not in-house anymore and is just published by Nintendo. But Zelda is one that they still hold internally with the mainline Mario games, the stuff like that. So, yeah, generally, Breath of the Wild ran fine for me on launch, and I have no reason to think that this one won't run fine. We'll see, though. Maybe, hey, shitty games come out all the time. I'm really looking forward to this one.
But yeah, like you said, Mike, a lot of the what we would call a first party game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first party.
Like Zelda and Mario and stuff. Nintendo tends to really hold on to that quality because it's developed for their console.
Except when they let the Philips CDI have a go at some Zelda games back in the day.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that.
They were like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, and then they went, shoot.
My.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
2 quick things, and Troy and I aren't going to dive into these. We talked about them on the Always Online podcast on MMO Bomb. We might give a general opinion or two here, but I wanted Yod's take on both of these things. Multiversus, the brawler that's from Warner Brothers, has been in open beta for a while now, was getting ready to launch its 3rd season. Paid season passes, cosmetics, like it's been launched, even though it's still been under the open beta flag. Well, they're now going to shut that down. Having player counts drop to the 3 digits, 800s at any given time on Steam, they are now shutting the open beta down in a month and a half, and then that's it. You can't play it until launch in early 2024. Troy and I gave some really negative opinions on this one, but I'm wondering what you think, Yod, because you do have to test things and have betas and maybe shut down and fix some things from betas and then come back. But this is a game that was getting ready to launch its third paid season
Right.
pass, has been collecting money left and right for months,
Right.
not giving refunds. Like, what the hell?
Right. Right. So yeah, like the article that you had us on the show notes was written by Troy. And I do have to agree with him there that when you have your third paid season, you're making money on the game. It's no longer a beta. You can call it a beta if you want, but let's face it, it is it is sold. It is out there. It is you've gone gold with it a long time ago if you're making money off of it. There's really no point in shutting it down unless you're completely revamping it for some odd reason. And I don't see a reason to do that unless for some reason, because I mean, Multiverse has a lot of characters in it from a lot of different IPs.
Yeah,
The
I
only
mean,
thing that
they
I
don't have
could
to pay licensing though. It's all Warner Brothers owned characters. So
the only see this is it. The only thing I can think of is that some of those IPs got sold off, or the companies that own those IPs separated from Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers themselves, because Warner Brothers just had a big shakeup not too long ago
Yeah.
of their leadership and merging and all that stuff, and a whole bunch of TV shows got shuttered.
And
some
some
of which
movies
were
never
actually not as
released.
good. Some movies never released, which was rather interesting. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about video games for now.
I'll tell you
so-
why. You want to know the why? Because 817 people were playing it when I wrote that article.
Yeah.
That's your why right there.
And that is bad. But what do you do to get more people to play?
You
don't
shut it
shut
down.
it down.
Yeah,
How-
no,
why?
you shut it down. You right?
That gives you 800 less people, not any more people.
Yes.
You shut
So
you
yeah,
just shut
I
it
don't
off.
know why they would do this. Who in their right mind thinks this is a good idea? And and to shut it off for at least a year. You said about 2014.
Yeah, it's
or
going to be
2024 to
if
come
we
back?
estimate it's going to be between 6 and 9 months if we give them early 2024 as like the entire first quarter.
Yeah, people are gonna forget about the game.
No doubt.
Nobody's gonna care about it anymore. That's
What
the
a great
problem.
time if you're working on a brawler to launch right now. You've got a
Right.
nice, sexy little window right now.
They
Right?
have said that when they come back, if you own cosmetics or bought the $100 founders packs or anything like that, you will still have all that stuff.
Sure you will.
Like you will still
Sure.
have all that stuff.
Until you don't.
Until the game just doesn't show back up.
Yeah, like until you don't. You will still have them until you don't.
Messy. I also wanted to get your take. There's a whole copyright thing going on with Dark and Darker right now.
I did look at that.
And it's
Oh.
initially it was like really easy to be on Dark and Darker side because there was a smaller indie company, and Nexon, the big one that nobody likes, was kind of beating them up and saying you stole our assets. And they brought a team in, and Dark and Darker had a third-party team come in and audit their code and their assets, and they were like, no, none of this was stolen from Nexon. But as we're learning more and more about this, I feel like I might actually be on Nexon's side of things here. And if I had to
Yeah,
pick a winner right now, I'd probably go with Nexon because now the game's been taken down off of Steam. Nexon DMCA
Right.
copyright claimed it. So, and there's going to be litigation over this. But when you have the person that's in charge of a Nexon project that was basically Dark and Darker or that
Right.
type of game, working on it with a team for a while, and then Nexon shutters that project, and you leave, and like 17 people leave with you, and you go found this other company, and you start making basically the same game. Even if you use your own assets, your own code, or you buy Unreal assets, which is a lot of what Dark and Darker did, when you start creating basically the same game, their whole argument is Nexon doesn't have a copyright to a genre. They can't say, hey, we own that genre. That's not, to me, that's being maybe a little disingenuous, right? You worked for
Right.
Nexon. Whatever
So-
you started creating, they own. Whether or not they decide to release it as a finished project or not, you can't just go create the exact same thing and say, I used a different elf, so therefore it's fine.
Okay. So here's what it kind of boils down to for me. As an artist, yes, I understand you poured your heart and soul into this IP. You want to make this IP a thing, a reality, okay? So you've kind of brought it over to your own company and have done some things to it and things like that, and maybe it's not quite the same. The problem boils down to, though, is what did your contract look like when you worked for the other company?
Yeah, you're like no competes, your non-disclosure
Right,
agreements, who owns
right.
creative properties, that
Well,
type of stuff.
it's and like while I enjoy most of the things that come out of Marvel and Disney, what Disney's done with Marvel and uh and Star Wars and stuff like that, some of it. But anyways, while I enjoy that stuff, I don't ever want to work for Disney because on their contracts, when I was going to college, we talked to someone from Disney. Disney came and recruited out of the college I went to. When I talked to when we talked to that person, under the contract that they have, no matter where you are, as long as you are an employee of Disney, if you are doodling on a napkin at home while you're drinking your beers, winding down to night, they own that. Whatever comes out of you, they own. It's in the contract. So if their contract is that way, well, that's the way their contract is. And that also boils back down to back in the day with Marvel Comics before in the mid to late 90s and stuff when a whole bunch of artists peeled off and formed Image Comics is because everything they created at Marvel owned, but they signed the contract. So until you peel off and make your own stuff and make it different enough, because I mean, let's face it, when Todd McFarlane draws Spawn, he looks like freaking Spider-Man with a cape. All
Yeah.
of
So hold
of,
on.
Jim
Takao said
Lee's-
something in chat. I do think we
Yeah.
need to say, because he was talking about he was watching a vid where Disney and Fox got into a legal altercation over Peter Pan. And Fox was
Yes.
saying, "Hey, we moved his knife to his boot, not his belt.
Yes.
Changing hook on for the Captain Hooks
Yes.
on the other hand." And Fox ends up winning, so it sometimes can be as simple as just changing an elf. I don't think that one, while an okay example of copyright and how the best type of legally distinct, can work in your favor a bit. Peter Pan, I don't think is a great one to use because Disney doesn't own the rights to Peter Pan.
Right.
Yeah, Disney didn't create Peter Pan.
Right,
Right,
they didn't.
Peter Pan
So
is
that
a little
that
different.
art is their depiction of Peter Pan, and so
Right,
just
right.
changing the art and saying this is my depiction of Peter Pan, that is make 2 or 3 small
Right.
differences, and you have a valid defense.
Exactly. And when it does boil down to it, though, is that it is a 30% change in America, because that's the other thing we have to remember.
Yeah, none of us are Korean law experts here.
Right, right. South Korean law may work differently. In America, you can change things 30%. Like I said, whenever Todd McFarlane draws Spawn, he looks like freaking Spider-Man with a cape. But he's freaking Spider-Man with a cape, with a different color scheme, a lot of chains and skulls. That's enough for him not to be Spider-Man.
In China,
So-
you ain't got to change shit.
Yeah. So, it all depends on what your contract said when you were there. But yeah, that's my take on it.
It's the best type of distinct. It's ours.
Yeah.
Oh man, Troy, that was good.
Oh,
By the way, a
oh,
little bit
oh.
of trivia for you. The people that do own the rights for Peter Pan are the Great Ormond Street Hospital.
Yes.
That's who owns the copyright for Peter Pan.
Yeah.
J.M. Barrie gifted that hospital the rights. So
Mm.
just a little trivia there for you. Some miscellaneous news hits before we head out for the day. Hey Troy, I don't know if you were surprised to hear this. We've kind of bashed this game a bit. Lord of the Rings Gollum is delayed again. It's not gonna.
Again?
Yeah, it's now delayed into May. So we saw this for the first time back in 2019. It was going to be released in 2021. In 2021, it was delayed to 2022. In May of last year, they revealed it was going to come out in September. Then in July, they announced it had been delayed again. And now, as of this week, it's going to come out in May. May 25th. I know
Oh,
you
sure?
are super pumped for this weird, stealthy adventure, Troy. I know you
You know,
are.
It's funny because just today I was eating lunch and I was cruising through YouTube and I stopped on a Watch Mojo list article and it was like 9 games that are releasing just to die, and they led off with Skull and Bones, followed immediately by Gollum.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh.
That's a fun list. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
seriously
that
throwing
was, I
some
was
shade.
like, ooh, this is good. I like throwing shade at stuff.
This one's spicy. Yeah, I just, as much as I would love this game to be like decent, I just don't have any confidence in it.
I
It
don't.
doesn't look
I-
good at all.
the scenery images look pretty okay. Pretty okay. Gollum looks like butt.
He does look bad, and it's also weird not hearing Andy Serkis as the voice
Eh,
too.
Well, but I mean, it all boils down to why would you want to play Gollum?
Yeah.
We-
Like, I mean,
Why-
I'm a huge Lord of the Rings guy, so I don't mind that part. I'm like, oh, that might be interesting to play as Gollum. And yeah, it does make sense that would have to be more stealthy gameplay because Gollum is sneaky and not very strong and stuff. Like, I get that. That could be neat. But then every time I see something, I'm like, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be bad.
Ugh.
The Australian government wants to hit any games with loot boxes with a mature rating, and that includes games like NBA 2K games, FIFA games, stuff like that. So instead of having the G rating for general audiences, it would slap them all the way up to a mature rating, calling it simulated gambling, getting an
Good, slap 'em on there.
R18 place. You all for that, Troy?
Yeah, I'm all for it. Slap them on there. It's gambling. Gambling is gambling.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm totally good with it, but it's like, who cares? Like,
Is it going to make a difference?
Yeah.
No, probably
No.
not.
Yeah. Have you ever
Is a
been
mature rating sticker
when you
gonna make a
were
difference to a parent who's buying
underage
an
and the
NBA game?
ESRB became a thing and ratings were a thing? Did you ever get carded to buy a video game? I have not.
No.
My kids have not.
There were
Like,
just certain games you couldn't pick up at Walmart. You had to go to like GameStop or something. to
Yeah.
get.
yeah, very weird. But yeah, I mean, go for it. I'm all for it. I'm amazed by this one. To Cal saying not once. Yeah. I know 1 or 2 states, California, I think was one of them for years, tried to like make it a law the way they card for cigarettes and beer and stuff like that. Even if you look 70, they're like, driver's license, please.
Right.
But there was so much lobbying, particularly if I remember right at the time, I think a lot of the lobbying came from Toys R Us, but also Walmart, where they were like, we don't want to get involved in having to check IDs for
Yeah.
game and movie purchases like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I never got carded at Toys R Us for buying game.
No. RE4 Remake is absolutely fucking gorgeous. It's absolutely freaking amazing. You want to talk, Takal was talking earlier about 70% chance that it doesn't play well, and we see a lot of that, particularly on the PC side of things.
Was it-
23,000 Steam reviews as of the time of this writing, 97% of them positive.
What did the
Jeez.
article say as opposed to Last of Us Part 1 port?
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't bugs. In fact, Capcom has issued a warning for a very odd particular bug that could halt and reset some progression. So it's not perfect. We're not trying to imply that's perfect. But 23,000 Steam reviews with a 97% positive is a fantastic number. And here's the even more impressive number. The remake hit 3 million in sales already. 2 days. 2 days.
Making them dollars.
That is very impressive. I do have to put I do want to put a caveat on that though, in the fact that the original, more than likely, you had to go out and buy a physical copy of.
Well, yeah, because it came out on GameCube first
Right.
and then went on other places. It really
Right,
wasn't a
so-
digital world yet.
Right. So
That
in
still
order to
doesn't. That still doesn't
purchase
mean
it-
that like that's any.
No, no.
It just because it was easier for me to give them $60 or $70, I still had to want to give them $60 or $70.
Right. Like I said, it's a small caveat, but it's the fact that at one point in time we had to actually find the time to go out to a store and purchase it, as opposed to just going click, okay, good.
Oh, that sounds terrible, Yod.
I know, right?
It took by the way, for comparison, it did take, since you're talking about originally, the original Resident Evil 4, it took a year to hit 3 million.
Right.
The remake did it in 2 days.
Like I said, small caveat. Very small.
Small caveat. Yeah, you know what? I think those 363 days, that gave people travel time to go to find a GameStop or a Walmart.
I mean,
oh, is it not deck confirmed yet? I mean, it doesn't. I haven't even looked, but it would make sense to me that it is not.
I don't know that deck confirmed is always as thoroughly tested as they try like it is.
Resident Evil Remake 4 runs just fine on the Steam Deck, but does require a little extra effort to smooth it out a little bit. This is not like their official thing. This is from Dextero. While the RE4 Remake demo gave us some concerns about the full game running on Steam Deck, we thankfully not had much to worry about since full launch. So it may not be showing as like green checked, but Dextero at least thinks it's doing pretty good.
Okay.
Good for them, though. Good for them.
Yeah.
Bad for them. I hate when companies do this shit. EA is laying off almost 800 people after reporting $7 billion in net revenue and about $5 billion in profit.
Stupid.
That was billion.
Yeah. Yep.
Typical freaking large corporation.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of things, we are getting a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, and Yod, you sent that to me. This is incredible.
Oh my God, that story! I still haven't finished yet because I can't. I mean, the comics all came out already, and I have them all. It's just they came out at a point in time when it was right about when my brother passed last year, and the two of us were really big Teenage Mutant Ninja
and I think that would be a bit dark read at that point too.
So I haven't finished the last 2 issues yet, but oh my God, the story is amazing.
I'm not going to spoil anything here for anybody, but if you don't know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Last Ronin is, it's basically a story where the turtles have been killed. There is one left,
except for one,
seeking samurai-type vengeance. And I'm not going to tell you who or what or why or any of that stuff, but that is the basic setup, and we're getting a freaking game. It is super dark. Last Ronin is totally legit. You're right. It is super dark. Don't think the Saturday morning cartoon Teenage Mutant or Shredder's Revenge. I cannot wait for this game.
Yeah, I've got that laying around somewhere.
It's going to be like a God of War style game too, if you're wondering.
Now the comic did spawn a new series, from what I understand, where there's 4 new turtles. That I and like I said, I haven't read the story yet, but I want to say, the survivor is training them maybe, but I'm not certain on that, who's training them exactly.
I can't wait.
So they're
here's the thing though. All we know is that it's going to happen, and it's going to be a God of War type-ish game, and that's according to the artist who is collaborating on it, who also does the art for The Last Ronin. We don't know what studio's doing it. We don't know what platforms it's going to be on. We don't know what the release date is. Like, this one's a long way off, but it's badass. It's absolutely badass.
Yeah.
Troy, what are you going to do if it's not on PC? You got to buy a PlayStation 5, right? You have to at that point. You have to.
One of these days, someday, I'm going to end up buying a freaking console for one stupid game, and I'm going to feel like a dumbass afterwards.
It's going to be this game.
It's going to be this one.
Love it.
Yeah. He's going to be like, I got to be the Ronin turtle. I got to find this out. Hey, by the way, Silent Hill 2 Remake is not ready for release, if you needed to know that.
Why would you think it was ready for release?
Well, because there was an interview and some fan translations on the internet kind of scrambled some things a little bit. So there was a mistranslation that mentioned that the remake was technically ready for launch. Bloober Team clarified, said those statements were taken out of context due to inaccurate translations. It's also not true that we have announced that Silent Hill 2 Remake is ready for release. Regardless of the development stage, all of our activities are focused on obtaining the highest quality for the finished project, the quality the fans of Silent Hill 2 deserved. We'll have more information as it becomes available. Also, as part of this mistranslation, there was in that mistranslation a mention of like a sales forecast saying that Konami was looking for this to sell 10 million copies.
Oh.
Bloober Team also cleared that up. They said our company's message didn't contain sales forecasting of specific titles. Those figures were instead referencing the potential success of the types of games we'll be focused on in the future. Some Resident Evil games have passed the 10 million mark, so sure, having a potential bigger target for horror games, fine. So not almost ready, and no, Konami is not looking for that bitch to sell 10 million units, because even though I want it to sell well, it ain't selling 10 million units. It just isn't.
I could see it eventually, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, it would be one of those, like, 15 years down the road, Silent Hill 2 Remake crosses 10 million units.
Right.
We're just 4 days away, gentlemen. Before we go do our games of the week, Troy, any plans to see the new Super Mario Brothers movie in 4 days?
Probably not in 4 days, but probably sometime while it's in its theater run, I think we will go see that.
You think you will? Yad?
Yep.
I kind of want to. The wife's a little iffy on it. There's a movie studio grill tavern place next to us that we haven't tried yet that I want to try. And I'm thinking like a noon showing when all the
there you go.
people are still in.
Spice her up with some good food.
Sunday.
Be like, come on,
Right.
come see this movie with me. I'll take you to lunch.
and like I said, all the kids and people are still in church on Sunday. Maybe hit that up so that nobody's in the theater.
That's my thing. It's going to be like sometime when there ain't a bunch of kids around and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers movie here in the States comes out Wednesday, April 5th. Doc Holliday in chat saying taking the fam. Baron Vagabond says, my nephew has already informed me that I will be taking him. Takal says, I'll go see it on a random Tuesday afternoon in a few weeks. I know we want to get a family thing together. I don't know if Havoc and I talked about this, but my other brother Lou, Corey, he the first time he saw the trailer, he was like, we're all going to see this together, right? And I was like, yeah, we'll go see it together. So I don't know if we're going to be there opening day, but probably opening week. Let's slide over and finish things up today here with Games of the Week. Every episode of Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us are going to give you a game. Could be something we're playing now, played in the past, never played. Could be PC, console, video game, mobile, board game, trading card game, whatever that we think you should check out. And you let us know in the comments below who gave the best recommendation. We're going to start with you, Troy.
I'm going board game again this week. I'm going with Space Base. A fantastic. If you've ever played Machikoro, it's similar to that. You've got a pad of numbers spread out in front of you, and you're buying ships to set inside of these numbers. And then you roll 2 dice, and depending on what resources you get from rolling those dice, depending on what ships you've chosen, you get those resources and you pass it around the table. Well, the fun part gets, as you get more and more ships, you start getting stuff when other people roll the dice as well. So it's a race to 40, but you're paying attention on every player's turn. It's no downtime at all. Every time somebody rolls, you've got to look at your board and see, okay, he rolled a 6 and a 3. I get this and I get that. And then when it comes back to my turn, I can buy this ship out here and put it on here. And then the next time they roll a 6 and a 3, I'm really going to make bank. So it's a fantastic game. No downtime. It lasts a little longer than you might expect, but it's not like a 2-3 hour game, nothing like that.
What's it called again?
Space Base by John D. Clare.
Space Base. What you got, Yad?
Well, the Tetris movie came out this week, so I've got bricks on the brain.
Oh.
Go play some Tetris.
Is that still only on Apple TV? Wink, 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 wink?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Well, you have to let me know if it ever comes out on something that isn't Apple TV. You have to let me know.
All right.
What's that? I'm gonna go with if you're looking for a brawler, I suggest taking Multiversus. Check it out. It's a great little brawler about some Warner Brothers characters, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to recommend it, because in a couple of months, I couldn't recommend it to you. So don't lose fear of missing out. Get there and play it. That's going to do it for this week for Gaming Gumbo. No Torchwick after the show tonight. We did make it through with all the wind and the storms and everything, so that's cool too. We'll be back, of course, here next Thursday with the Relic Grind, episode 100. Episode 100. And then the following Saturday for Gaming Gumbo. And, of course, our Final Fantasy TCG Locals live gameplay on Monday nights and all the streams through the rest of the week. Tarkoth will be going live tonight, midnight Eastern time. Make sure you show up for his Final Fantasy 15 stream. Watch our Twitter and everything. You'll know when he goes live. It's his birthday today. Now, the stream, it'll still be his birthday, his time zone when he's streaming. So it'll be fine. Wish him a happy birthday. Until then, Yod, where can everybody find you?
Yad Artworks on Twitter, Yad Artworks on Facebook, and right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Troy.
It's WrestleMania weekend, so if Cody Rhodes doesn't win the championship, you can watch me have a meltdown on Twitter at NoobFridge.
Oh, isn't that free on Peacock now?
I don't know. It's like $5 if you don't have if you've already used your free like preview thing.
Oh no, we have Peacock because of the cable package we have through Comcast.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah. So
what time's that start?
It's starting right now.
I probably know like 6 people. I haven't watched wrestling in so long. Yeah. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.